What's happening, people? Welcome back to Out of the Loop. So today I just did a little remake of a song by Polar Ink called Journal, and I just wanted to focus on the pluck sound essentially. So I'll just show you what I've made. Yeah, it's a really clean sounding pluck. It's really nice. I got it pretty close. I wouldn't say it's absolutely accurate, but you never know. These things could be down to like the mastering or the mixing that he's done, but I think it's pretty close. So let's have a look at the sound. So the MIDI itself is just repeating this G along the bottom, and then it plays these upper notes, so F sharp, D sharp, C sharp, and then B. So it's in the G sharp minor scale. And the sound itself, I'm not going to recreate it from scratch just because it will take a little while, because there's a few little fine details and stuff in there that I've done. But what I did to make the sound is I went from a preset called BS Pluckers, which is something that, it's a really nice preset. It's got a nice tone to it. But I did some changes, and all it was is just taking off things like the delay, because I could hear that his pluck was just very clean. There's not like a huge amount of reverb in there. It's pretty, centered and loud and clear. But the most important thing with this sound is the envelopes over here. So with these envelopes, they needed to have a little bit of sustain, a little bit of release, and then not too harsh of a attack. So I'll just show you. See, if we take this attack down, I mean, this works all good. Like it's more aggressive, the pluck, but I could hear in his it had a little bit of it's got a bit of a womp womp womp. And that's what that attack will give. And then I needed to add a little bit of sustain and release, because otherwise it feels like this. It just ends like really abruptly. Let's put that back. So the notes are ringing out a little bit. And yeah, that's it. The decay is pretty important as well. So I've got it at 44 here. And yeah, if you have it a bit higher, it just rings out a bit too much and too short. Sweet spot. The velocity and key tracking is pretty important as well if you are messing around with the velocity, because it's going to make the envelopes react to that, and then the key tracking is going to follow up the keyboard, so it's going to make the envelopes and the cutoff filter react as you move up the keyboard. So that's why I've added it a little bit here as well, and the same on the first envelope. And the first envelope is essentially just the same as the second envelope, so they're just copying from each other. And if you didn't have this envelope here, it would be, it needs that bite to it, so you need to add that second envelope. And this second envelope is just opening this cutoff essentially, just by this much. That makes sense. Okay, cool. So the add here, this is a preset that was already within this preset, or it was the modifications that were already in this preset. And what it's doing is, if you look at this add, it's rectify and invert added together, and this for me doesn't really make much sense. Rectify turns negative values to positive values, and then invert inverts a signal. So I think I'm not understanding it correctly, but it sounds kind of counterintuitive, so I don't really know what it's doing. But the invert is also attached with LFO2, and it doesn't really do much for the sound. If I take this off, it's not going to do much. But with it a little bit of it on, I just moved I modified the LFO a little bit so that it would just slowly open the cutoff filter. You can hear there's a little bit of movement in there if I exaggerate it. But I think like with this rectify and invert, it's not making a huge difference. It's mostly just the LFO movement that's giving it that, that feel. And that is it otherwise. The most important thing is, just the reverb is just not to go too crazy with it. Have it nice and like low in the wet. The decay and the size is very low as well, so it's not completely drowned in reverb. It's very centered and clear. And then that is it, I think. I'm just looking if there's anything that I've missed. No. So yeah, the sound will be available in my Patreon. I'm going to give it away with the whole project file. I'm going to give it away in the Patreon for all the tiers. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to that. And I'll just go through the bass. It's very simple. It's literally just a sawtooth, I believe. There's two sawtooths you can see here. One of them is pitched down, and then one of them is pitched up. And there's a little bit of this lag envelope, which is just giving it a bit of a whoom rather than starting straight away. And yeah, that's it. There's no effects. It's just in mono. And the cutoff, well, it doesn't really matter how big I have this because I close it off quite a lot with the EQ. And the reason for that is because the piano does quite a lot in this track. The piano is doing a lot of the lower mid, so I didn't want the bass to clash with that essentially. The chords, I didn't. All I did to find them is I got the audio from the track, and then dragged it into a MIDI file, MIDI channel, and then I clicked harmony, and it gave me the chords pretty much, but then I just had to move them around a little bit. I don't know my music theory well enough to tell you what these chords are all called. Maybe somebody in the comments could tell me. And I think, yeah, all they are is just, it's a very nice melody where it does like, well, you can hear here. Let's just have a listen. It's just that I like the sustained part here. It's just nice and calm, and then it like sets up for the next part of the track or the melody coming in. The thing here as well is just this G that repeats along the top, which is what I had to put in, and it helps really well with the G here that's playing. So there's this G that repeats through the track, like through quite a few things, like the pluck and the piano, and then I think there's something else in the pads, and it just like all layers on top of each other and just helps a lot with the main theme of the track. So yeah, that is about it. I hope this was helpful, guys. If it was, let me know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and you like and all that good stuff. You know what to do. Like I said before, all this stuff is going to be available on my Patreon for all the tiers. So make sure you head over to there. The link will be in the description down below. All right, that's it, guys. Catch you next time. Have a good week. See you later.